What is up, you guys, and welcome back to Arca Scans, where we go over this week's potential movers directly from my scanner. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining me and the rest of the crew in my Discord called Arca Bulls. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right into the charts. Guys, please notice here that we are coming to you with this CSTL ticker, and actually I just went over the other one, VSCO for Victoria's Secret. Both of these tickers are presenting a very nice opportunity here today on Taco Tuesday. We are actually set to make a pretty nice move to the upside on Wednesday or Thursday, okay, you guys, but it's showing in the immediate short-term time frame that we may have an opportunity here. So let's go over those opportunities now, you guys. So let's go ahead and see this. First of all, if you're curious, right, let's look at the daily time frame. I know a lot of the times, yes, we do have to look at the daily time frame first, right, in order for us to understand where we can be headed to, right? So in this case, let's go ahead and now that you know, right, now that you know and see what it looks like. We can really dive in, right? So in case you want to know where we came from, right, there is a bit of a triangle here. Right, we broke to the downside, of course, from it, and the way we were able to tell if we met that target, it's taking a trend line from the top side of the triangle all the way to the bottom side of the triangle. This, on a downtrend, this is called a symmetrical triangle. That becomes a continuation formation, and it suggests a downside or an upside, but more towards the downside because it's formed after the downside. Okay, so go ahead and notice here that from the breakout, it's suggesting a price of about $9.45. $9.26 came in. Oh, sorry, we can actually just bring it down just ever so slightly. There you go. So it's actually it's actually $9.37. We got a low of $9.26. Of course, we already faced that downside. The triangle got succeeded towards that downside, and now price action is rejecting that bottom, right? So geometrically speaking, the asset is continuing on a good form. Okay, so anyway, now back to what I was trying to say, right? So sometimes I forget to, add a little bit of that educational value. Is just, I want to get over this. My toddler is actually running around right there in the kitchen all alone. So I want to get to him. He's actually, he's now next to me, just sitting and watching the screen. Good deal. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour time frame, as that's where I'm noticing that we have a very nice setup kind of forming. Go ahead and take a look at this right here. Volatility versus momentum. Let's zoom in just a little bit. We have an upside pivot on the 4-hour time frame. We have contracting volatility. It's starting to contract, okay? So that this pair usually makes a pretty nice move towards an upside, or any actually move for that matter, right? So let's go ahead and now refer back to the 30-minute time frame to see if we have any type of loading zone or any type of downside. It would be highly ideal if we did, right? So let's see. So we actually are getting a bit overextended here. We actually see that the 30-minute RSI has a downside to be faced here, to likely find support from both the gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile on the RSI and the SMA 14. Very likely for us to find that bounce from it, right? So that paired with momentum, we can only assume that downside could actually be faced to right around the zone of about 1396. We are currently at 1497. So let me actually put in my SMA 10 in there to see what we can do too. Okay, so yeah, I would actually favor the downside to be just at about this range here. 1437 to about 1396 could be a very nice entry for this area here. The second most obvious entry would actually be located right down here between the space of about 1359 and about the wick low of this candle here, which is located right at about 1348. Okay, you guys, but if we do start failing candles or start closing candles beneath the area of 1348, that would become an immediate invalidation of this move, and the price action can likely start capitulating here. First stop would be at around 1261, followed by the area of about 1205 to 1219. Okay, you guys, so it's very important that we do keep an eye on this. No closures of candles below that area of 1348, or else invalidation is there, and you wouldn't have to say that I didn't tell you. Okay, you guys, so this is critically important for us to look at that. Okay, so now let's move on. We want to see an upside of stochastics and either contraction or expansion from critical zones of volatility, okay, on the hourly and bi-hourly. So let's look at the hourly. And we have, all right, we have critical volatility. It's starting to contract. We have an upside pivot in the gravitational zone of the bullish control zone of stochastics. And now the bi-hourly, let's see what it's got for us. So the bi-hourly time frame, very, very healthy contraction happening. We have that upside pivot on both the EMA3 and the SMA14 in the gravitational zone and on the bullish control zone. So now the 4-hour time frame, which we already saw, this is where the shorter time frames are bleeding into. We have that fresh upside on both the EMA3 and the SMA14. We're at critical volatility right up here, you guys. And it looks like the RSI is making a very bullish cross upside of the 14-day simple moving average in that short-term downside. It's fine. We have the SMA 14 to look at for support before a continuation onto the upside, right? So let's look at the 6-hour, and man, look at that. Yeah, this setup is very nice, you guys. Okay, something is definitely happening within this asset. Okay, so if I were to favor any type of downside here, I would probably favor the side of around 1359. So if you're looking at 1359 as that potential loading, there could be a move to the upside here to look at the SMA 10 at around 1622, which would lead to about a 19.31% gainer. Okay, you guys, but if we are looking at more fixed targets like the top side of this candle here, which would be the more obvious target to look at, then in this case, we can look at a top side that can lead to about a just about a 13% gain, or 12.8% for the immediate short-term time frame. Okay, you guys, so this is very, very healthy. I am definitely looking for an immediate short-term pullback before a continuation onto that upside. But I do have to tell you, okay, so let me just actually zoom out to show you why we're resisting on that 6-hour candle from there. If you can take, you know what, let's make a line. Right, let's draw a trend line here from that top side of the candle, right over here. So let's see why. First of all, yes, we have the downside here from these candles, from this area here that was let's see, June 16th, 2022. But more than likely, this is the resistance here. Take a look at this. This was the bottom side of the capitulation phase that we faced. Ticker symbol CSTL on October of 2019. Right? So that is very likely why the price action has essentially stopped, right? We have that heavy resistance from that zone there. So now, starting to actually close time frames above that area of 1535 means that we can actually face a pretty nice slide to the upside, of which can take us to around 1737. Okay, you guys, of course, there are some smaller targets to kind of keep into consideration, like we have a gap right over here, right in the 6-hour time frame. That's 1616 to around 1661, right? The top side we're looking at is around 1735, followed by a continuation to validate this as an area of resistance, which would lead to around 1990. This is looking at just a few weeks into the trade, right? I am looking at more short-term trading, which can lead to a very nice, almost 20% top side. Okay, so now let's see if we have that 20% top side favoring anything. Well, what do you know? The 20% top side is landing right at literally at that gap that we were talking about right now. Okay, right at the bottom side of it, which would mark a pretty nice inflection zone before actually coming back down from that 1625 to our current highs, right? Or even this support zone at 1437 before a continuation onto the upside. This can literally be traded in waves, right, you guys? But please remember, first and foremost, that I am not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. Okay, you guys, I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be cool. But with that said, I wish you well, a very, very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.